Home. It was composed by the Reverend Sherry Woodbury. It's in our new virtual hymnal, Sing Out Love, and we're going to sing it together. We'll teach it to you. We'll go through it a couple times. So rise in body or spirit, move a little bit, although it's pretty warm in here, but you know, we'll warm up.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone. My name is Nancy Dragonette Morse. My pronouns are she, her, and I am your worship associate on this very chilly Sunday morning. We welcome you into this sanctuary where we celebrate diversity and learn from one another, no matter our differences, to deepen our sacred connections and transform the world with love. Let us begin our worship with these opening words by Reverend Michelle Collins. The soft, stubborn practice. Come into this time of worship, worn, weary, or wide awake. In this gathering, we acknowledge the pressure of living, the tender ache of persisting through uncertainty, and the courage of continuing when clarity is distant. Yet here we are, still breathing, still reaching, still becoming. Today, let us embody resilience together, not as armor, but as the soft, stubborn practice of returning to ourselves, to one another, to the work of love. We are so glad to have you here with us today as we continue to do the work of love. This month's theme is embodying resilience. But what does that mean? If you ask a congregation of 60 people, you get, you guessed it, 60 different answers. This morning, we will explore this theme and what it means in a Unitarian Universalist religious context. Heather will get us started with some announcements.
Okay. Good to see you all. And hopefully we have some folks who didn't feel like leaving the house on our streaming services today. Good morning. Love plus connection equals transformation, but what does that mean? It means that we want you to root yourselves in love and connect with others so we can transform ourselves and this world towards harmony and beauty. And we have ways for you to do that. This last Wednesday, we met with a leader from the Braver Angels. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but it's about having conversations with those that you don't necessarily agree with. And so the group decided that they would meet again on February 25th at 7 p.m. Our newsletter will have more information. It might be here or it might be somewhere else. So if you're interested in engaging in that, keep your eye out for information in the newsletter. We do have assisted listening devices available to anyone who needs one. They're right back there in that little corner, and you're welcome to just grab one and put it on so you can hear better. This Wednesday, our worship committee meeting is at 5 p.m. Everyone's welcome to come to the worship committee meeting and share your ideas. And then at 6:30 p.m. is our dinner worship, to which we discuss the theme for the month, embodying resilience. And I usually make some rice, and people bring things to serve with the rice, and we have conversation. We say the sermon is the conversation, so of course you're free to join us on that as well. Okay, Friday is First Friday, and we set up a tent at Munn Park for the event. We do need volunteers, so if you're interested, please reach out to Vaisal. All right, you can email Vaisal, he's not here today, and let him know that you'd like to help out, and he'll give you some information. And then on Saturday, there's a social justice committee meeting at Vegetation, which is on Gary Road in Lakeland. The address is in the newsletter. It's at 1 p.m., so if you are interested in supporting the Social Justice Committee and doing that good work, please meet us at Vegetation on Saturday. Okay, we are having a Valentine's Day karaoke here on Valentine's Day at 6 p.m. in the sanctuary, so you are welcome to join us for that. There will be, as far as I know, an Interfaith Coalition picnic on February 15th. I don't yet have a time for that, and I apologize. I'm assuming it's like around 2 in the afternoon after church services. I'm really trying to get some more details for you. And, of course, we have the yard sale coming up in March. Start saving your stuff so you can donate it, and then think about volunteering to help out with that. Our very own Nikki McCarty published a poetry book, and it's available on bookshop.org. If you go in and select UUCL as your bookstore, you will find the book. Gail put it in there, and then, of course, we want to support Nikki, and then that also supports the congregation. And I did ask her if she would do a book signing, and she said, sure. So once y'all get the book, then we can set that up. Okie dokie, I'm just going out of order here. Okay, today after the service, we are going to plant a pine tree. This is in honor of a couple of things. First of all, you might have heard Kino talk about Tu B'Shvat. It's a Jewish holiday that celebrates plants. And he loves this holiday. He wants for us to think about the life of plants and how they affect our life, of course. And so in honor of Tu B'Shvat, which is tomorrow, we have this pine tree, and we're going to put it out where we had to take down a pine tree near where Kino and Zayla got married some however many years ago that was. And so you are welcome to join us out there for that. Maybe, hopefully, Kino will make it. All right, so thank you, Crystal, for getting that coordinated. All right, well, of course, check your e-newsletter, which comes out on Mondays, for more information and your order of service. All right, Nancy will get our chalice lit.
The flaming chalice is a symbol of this Unitarian Universalist faith. We light it each Sunday, as do UU churches around the world, to create sacred space, to connect us with one another, and to remember who we are as people of faith, who persist with love, who resist the forces of violence, fear, and control, and who offer resilience through our theologies of interdependence. As we light our chalice today, let us recite together the declaration and the covenant we make to ensure that our shared Unitarian Universalist value of transformation lights up the world. We adapt to the changing world. Petra and, Petra and some friends are here to do this.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages, never complete and never perfect. And Petra and Arlo have done us the honor of lighting our chalice.
Rise, embody your spirit, and sing spirit. This is the time when I invite our children to come up for a story and a conversation. Are you all warm enough?
Uh-huh.
Because I'm starting to sweat. Maybe we might consider turning it down a little bit.
Hello.
Okay, here we are. Oh, I got it. Thank you. I'm going to do it like this, and then I'll just. Yeah. Are you warm enough? You took off your coat, so I'm thinking you're probably warm enough, yeah? Okay, good. So I have a question. What is resilience? Those are pretty. Any grown-ups want to clue us in? What is resilience?
Ability to change with circumstances.
The ability to change with circumstances. Good answer. Anybody want to add to that or have a different answer?
Like a basketball.
Like a basketball? It bounces back. Yeah, it bounces back. You play basketball? Excellent. What about what happens when you have a rubber band, like one of those rubber bands in your hair? What happens if you stretch it out and then you let it go? Yeah, does it go back? It flies away. And what size does it take after you are done stretching it and you let it go? It's bigger, and then what happens when you let it go? It slings off, and it falls on the floor. And what size is it then? Is it still big? No, your sister says no. What size is it?
If I had a rubber band this tiny and I stretch it this big,
Yeah. Yeah.
at the window.
Or out the window. Yeah. It snaps. It hits the wind. Like it bounces back, right? We call that resilience. You stretch it out and then bing, you let go of it and it goes back to the same, about the same size, right? Survival, yeah. It's flexible. It adapts. Okay, well, I have a story for you. It's about a giant oak tree and some reeds of grass. A giant oak stood near a brook in which grew some slender reeds. Grasses. Reeds are like grasses. When the wind blew, the great oak stood proudly upright with its 100 arms uplifted to the sky. But the reeds bowed low in the wind and sang a sad and mournful song. "You have reason to complain," said the oak. "The slightest breeze that ruffles the surface of the water makes you bow your heads, while I, the mighty oak, stand upright and firm before the howling tempest." Right? Yeah. You've seen an oak tree, when it gets windy, it stands tall, but sometimes long grasses, they bend over. Yeah. "Do not worry about us," replied the reeds. "The winds do not harm us. We bow before them, and so we do not break. You, in all your pride and strength, have so far resisted their blows, but the end is coming." Ooh. As the reeds spoke, a great hurricane rushed out of the north. We know what hurricanes are like, don't we? Have you ever seen what happens to some of the oak trees? What happens sometimes? It could fall. Well, that's what happened. Well, at first, the oak stood proudly and fought against the storm, while the yielding reeds bowed low. The wind redoubled in fury, and all at once the great tree fell, torn up by the roots, and lay among the pitying reeds. The tree. Yeah. So the tree. Why didn't we grab pieces of wood and keep it up? Good question. Maybe it's just so big. It's just so big that it couldn't withstand the hurricane force winds. It wasn't resilient enough. Yes. Dave, how do you keep up with all of these questions? That's great. That mind is thinking. Yeah, so the moral of the story, and this is an Aesop's fable, the moral of the story is that big, hard, and flexible oak tree couldn't withstand those mighty winds, but those flexible reeds of grass, they were resilient, and they made it through the storm. So, when hard times come our way, sometimes we do have to be big and strong, but also we have to learn to change and adapt and become resilient. Something to think about. You have a question? Of course. Yes. That's okay. If you remember, you can ask Melissa when you're outside. Okay. Well, that's all I have for you today. All right. So, are you ready? You go put your coats on? Yeah? Yeah. All right. So long. It was great spending time with you. I'll see you after the service. We'll have some snacks together.
Here we are, gathered, tucked back in this friendly neighborhood between the beautiful tall pines. We are a small church with big aspirations. We can achieve those aspirations if everyone gives of their time, talents, and treasures. Our shared Unitarian Universalist value of generosity calls us to be faithful UUs by covenanting with one another to freely and compassionately share our presence and resources. This is the time in our worship service when we are given the opportunity to share. The ushers will now pass our plates.
Thank you all for your blessings. I just want to keep on top of the pledge drive, which we did indeed start. The pledge team is working together, coming up with a dream budget. So far, what I have from Adam is that our dream budget for this year's pledge drive is $145,000. It's a dream. However, dreams can be achieved. So we will have more on this in the coming weeks, but you can expect that soon you'll be getting a pledge form, and somebody from the pledge team will reach out to you. And this is, for members and for friends. We, of course, hope that you will help to support the congregation. We have to fund ourselves. We govern ourselves. We have congregational polity. We exist because of what we do together. So thank you all for your gifts. Let's see, we will. Nancy, would you please light our healing candle for us today? Thank you. I love this candle that we're using now for our healing candle with the different colored stained glass tiles. It reminds me of what we say about Unitarian Universalism is like many windows, one light. So tonight begins the pagan cross-quarter celebration of Imbolc. It is the halfway point between winter solstice and the spring equinox. Imbolc means in the belly, and it is a celebration of the returning warmth, a hopeful outlook of new life. The celebration honors the goddess Brigid or Breed or Bride with fire. She's the goddess of smith arts, poetry, and healing. So let our candle today honor her spirit. And let us keep that spirit with us this week, that spirit of healing, as we continue to take courage and have hope and create a world where radical love is birthed for all. And I offer you this poem. Its life begins small and grows, and was written by Cynthia Rylant. Life is not always easy. There will probably be a stretch of wilderness now and then, but wilderness eventually ends, and there is always a new road to take. Remember this: in every corner of the world, there is something to love and something to protect. And if one day it seems nothing beautiful will ever come your way again, trust the rabbit in the field and the deer who crosses your path. Trust the wolf and the wild geese who find their way back home. All these know something about life, that everything is changing. And it is worth waking up in the morning to see what might happen, because life begins small and grows. May it be so. Please join me in singing our hymn number 6 in your gray hymnal, Just as Long as I Have Breath.
Just as long as I have breath, I must answer yes to life. Though with pain I made my way, still with hope I meet each day. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to life. Just as long as vision lasts, I must answer yes to truth. In my dream and in my dark, always that elusive spark. If they ask what I did well, tell them I said yes to truth. Just as long as my heart beats, I must answer yes to love. Disappointment pierced me through, still I kept on loving you. If they ask what I did best, tell them I said yes to love.
Thank you. Our ritual of the sharing of joys and sorrows is a prayerful time in which we listen to our hearts, minds, bodies, and souls to discern what it is we need in this moment of healing. This ritual allows for us to connect our lives and deepen our faith in the understanding that we do belong to one another. We are here to care for each other, and through caring, we illuminate the beauty of our interdependence. Each week, our Joys and Sorrows book sits in the entryway, and you are invited to write in it any joy or sorrow that you wish to be spoken aloud to the congregation. Today we have a note from Tom Mead, who also recognizes that February 2nd, tomorrow, is Groundhog's Day, in addition to being Imbolc. He says, yes, we are exactly halfway through winter, 6 weeks past the solstice, 6 weeks to the equinox. And that is his joy. Another joy, this morning I awake in a reasonably warm room. I took a hot bath. Even if I were a king 300 years ago, I would not have had these comforts. That's true. Laura Young shares a concern. She says, I'm a case manager for HIV patients. There's a program called ADAP, that's A-D-A-P, to help with the high cost of medication. It's the AIDS Drug Assistance Program.
There is now an unexplained funding hole, which means that after February 28th, as estimated, 10 to 16,000 Floridians will have no way to pay for their medications. We are scrambling to help them apply for programs which will not be adequate. If you feel moved to look into the issue, make phone calls, etc., and keep pressure on, you can search for the AIDS Healthcare Foundation's webpage. They do have a lawsuit. And so Laura says that her stone today is blue for a miracle. Yes, thank you, Laura, for sharing that. Let us say together, you are not alone. We are holding it together. We are trying, this is a trial run, New Joys and Sorrows ritual. We put the stones in the entranceway next to where the book is. And so what we're trying to do is have you take those stones as you walk into the sanctuary. You can hold on to them for the first part of the service. Think about your intentions for those stones and, to help process what you come into the room with. And then we're going to invite you forward to drop them in the water as we usually do, but we now have 2 bowls, one on each side, and so you can come down either aisle and drop your stone in and then go back up. Of course, this is to save some time, as Joys and Sorrows takes a long time, and I'm glad, because I'm glad that it's thoughtful and intentional, and I'm also glad that we are growing. In most weeks now, we're filling the chairs, and so we're just trying to make it go a little bit quicker so that we don't go over too much with the service. So if you didn't get a stone when you came in today, you're welcome to go get one off of the little table there in the back and then come on up on either side and drop your stone in the water. So you may begin that now. Thank you. Thank you. And I want you all to know that by no means are we trying to rush you. We're just trying to make it not so long. So blessings to all of you and to those folks joining us on our streaming services today. All right. And we'll take feedback, of course. Worship committee is this Wednesday. So that simple prayer that we've recently started saying together, you are not alone, we are holding it together, that was inspired by the same practice as at another UU church, which is a good example of cultural sharing between congregations. But that simple little prayer is the very embodiment of resilience. We are holding it together. To hold our joys and sorrows together is how we become resilient. To practice it each week until it becomes second nature is how we embody it. A simple definition of resilience is the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties. If we apply the term resilience to our psychology, we get this definition from the American Psychological Association. Psychological resilience is the process and outcome of successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences, especially through mental, emotional, and behavioral flexibility and adjustment to external and internal demands. A number of factors contribute to how well people adapt to adversities and are resilient. Predominant among them, the ways in which individuals view and engage with the world, the availability and quality of social resources, and specific coping strategies. Does any of this sound familiar? Adapting, flexibility, adjustment, social resources, engaging with the world? I think resiliency sounds a lot like our shared UU value of transformation. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages, never complete and never perfect. In our covenant to bring about love-centered transformation in this world, we are promising to be resilient together. Beyond individual resilience is community resilience, defined as the sustained ability of a community to use available resources to prepare for, withstand, and recover from adverse situations. A community's systems, infrastructure, social and economic networks increase a community's resiliency and ability to adapt and transform in the face of challenges. How familiar are all of you with UUCL systems and infrastructure? How about our governance and financial status? If you're not familiar, then I invite you to become familiar and to assist us in helping us embody resilience. But more than just the collective capacity to adapt to, withstand, and recover from shocks and stresses, community resilience promotes overall well-being for all involved. In other words, individuals in a resilient community experience better physical and mental health due to strong social connections, access to resources, and the ability to adapt to adversity. Are you on board to help build a resilient community? Yes. Thank you.
I will share with you a reading from the book Resilience Myth by Soraya Shamali. She says, speaking for myself, when I encounter stress and hardship, I become a magpie. In difficult and anxious moments, I use many of the resilience techniques and skills that we are taught might be effective, but with caution and moderation. I try to be optimistic and grateful for what I have. I work hard and persist in endeavors that are important to me. Whenever possible, I encourage my children to do the same. But none of these habits is what enables me to adapt, feel safe, find peace, and move forward each day. What does help is knowing that I am nurtured by my family and community. What matters is that there are people I trust and who trust me. What makes a difference are the many ways that I can rely on being the beneficiary of material privileges and psychological comforts conferred by my society. These relationships, connections, and political realities are essential to any individual strength I try to cultivate.
Inviting love plus connection leads to resilience. Embodiment of this way of living equals transformation. But what is embodiment? To embody means to give a body to a spirit, to incarnate, to represent a quality or an idea exactly. It means to bring resilience from just a word or an idea or a theory into a concrete form, into reality.
This is a short reading, once again from Soraya Shamali. Mainstream ideas about resilience are grounded in conservative mythologies and ways of thinking. In our cultural imagination, people either are resilient or aren't. We either learn to be resilient or we don't. Life is war. We are strong or weak. Resilience, we are constantly being reminded, is all in our minds, mental toughness, nebulous strength, optimism, having the right attitude to hardship. We are mainly taught to turn inward to find our resilience. However, no one can be resilient alone in all contexts at all times. No one can undo political injustices, historic wrongs, and enduring legacies by themselves.
This month we are singing the song, Coming Home. I return to myself, here where I belong. I am coming home, like a bird to its nest. Every bird makes a different kind of nest, depending on species. Some are messy, some are intricately woven. Nests are made with a variety of materials, from sticks and moss to mud and feathers. Some are close to the ground, and some are way up above our heads. But each nest holds beauty. Each nest is ideally a safe place to lay eggs and raise young. Each nest provides essential shelter and warmth, camouflage and protection from predators. Each nest creates a safe microclimate for vulnerable offspring to grow until they fledge. Each nest supports resiliency. We humans are not very unlike the birds. As humans, we each have our own cultures, subcultures, and family cultures. We live in different environments and build our houses out of different materials and in different styles. We create our own little microclimates based on our family dynamics, available resources, and preferences. And ideally, our houses are safe, protective, and comfortable. Some of us raise children. Some of us already have. It's empty nesting, right? Those that have flown. And for some of us, our homes, our nests are nurturing places for our own spiritual well-being so that we may build resiliency. If that is so, we are fortunate. Everyone deserves a nest. Everyone deserves love and connection because everyone has inherent worth and the right to flourish. But just like birds do, it is also important that we don't isolate ourselves in our nest. It's important that we flock together, especially when predators are near. Flocking together increases our resilience and ability to survive and to flourish. How has being a part of this church community contributed to your resilience and your ability to endure the predatory forces that persist in this country. As many of you know, I recently traveled to Qatar to visit my sister. We, of course, grew up in the same nest, so to speak, in the suburbs of Chicago. But as young adults, we flew the coop and took very different migratory flight paths. I ended up here some 30 years ago, and my sister has lived in Qatar for 25 years, and my recent visit was the first time I had boarded a plane to take that long journey to her part of the world. That's not to say that I haven't seen her in 25 years, as she comes home about every 2 to 3 years to visit us. However, it is not so easy to witness just how different her life has become since she left our nest here, as when she returns to the U.S., she shifts and seamlessly blends back into our family flock. So going over to Qatar to visit was a different kind of experience, which at times had me feeling a little bit disjointed, given that I was not just observing my sister in a foreign nest built of different material, but participating in my relationship with her in a different environment, one that operated in ways that I did not understand. As a Unitarian Universalist, our shared UU value of pluralism asks us to embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. And so I recentered myself while there, letting go of any judgments and preconceived notions that my American brain had about Arab culture. And I was intentional about becoming meaningfully curious. I knew that just because I didn't understand what was going on around me didn't mean that we weren't striving for the same goals: to keep everyone safe, to feed everyone physically, mentally, and spiritually, and to nurture connections, not just for survival, but for flourishing. So centered in curiosity, one of the questions that I asked my sister was, why do you have 4 living rooms on the first floor of your house? What else would I put there, she asked in return. I had ideas, but I'm pretty sure she was just asking a rhetorical question because, of course, in a big house in Qatar, they're all big, by the way, you create inviting and intimate sitting areas for when friends and family flock together. And flock together they do. My first full night there was New Year's Eve, and also her 50th birthday. She wasn't planning on doing anything, but after I surprised her with my arrival the night before, she decided to have a party. She told me that her guests would be there at 7:30 p.m. I wondered how many people would actually show up given the last-minute invite. Well, by 7:15, the first floor of the house was full of women and children, and I was not even done getting my hair curled by my lovely niece. So, isn't she? Yeah, I don't want to show a picture of her, respecting her privacy, but she does a good job curling my hair, right? So we hurried it up and we got ourselves downstairs. And I noticed that most of the ladies were gathering in the first sitting room off the foyer. There was already tea and plenty of sweets prepared and waiting for us. I stepped up into the room and suddenly found myself being greeted in the traditional Qatari way with a gentle hug and 3 to 4 kisses on the right side, like mwah, mwah, mwah. It was by every one of her friends. It was entirely awkward for me because I had no idea that this was the thing to do. And then, as if that wasn't overwhelming enough, all heads turned towards me, and the ladies, some who were American but had been living in Qatar for years, and some who were native Qataris, they started asking me questions, many, many questions. And it was nice that they were interested and wanted to get to know me, but I, still jet-lagged and now a bit culture-shocked, wasn't really ready for it. Nevertheless, I endured, and the conversation did eventually turn and focus on someone else, and eventually the music was playing, and the food was served. And I ate liver and didn't know it because it actually tasted good. And there was Arabic dancing and a New Year's celebration. and I built some new relationships. So by the end of the night, I realized the purpose of 4 intimate sitting rooms set up around a big foyer: to have a place to offer hospitality, to have conversations, to build relationships that offer community cohesion and resilience. In the Arabic world, there is something called a majlis. Have any of you heard of a majlis before? No. Okay. Simply put, a majlis is a place of sitting, but it's not just a place to sit. It's a place to sit together. It's a place of tradition and ritual, and it has specific purposes. If you Google the word majlis, it will tell you this: the purpose of a majlis is a place of gathering, discussion, and hospitality, often a dedicated room in a home for receiving guests, making decisions, and sharing cultural traditions. It signifies a space for community bonding, exchanging news, resolving issues, and passing down heritage through conversation, storytelling, and shared meals, embodying values of generosity and respect. What I observed in Qatar is this, and of course I need for all of you to step outside of judgment, outside of your American mindset, the understanding that there's more things that we don't understand, right? At many houses, the men have a majlis at the front of the house that is exposed to the street for the purposes of inviting other men to come sit with them and socialize. Okay, so this is like the inside. This is just something I got off the internet. It's not something I saw. That was just what a majlis looks like on the inside. That's a new public majlis. It's humongous. And this is like an older version of a public majlis that we saw when we went to go find the ruins in the desert and got lost. But yeah, that's that. And this is, I will say, more, well, it's a majlis. It's inside the house, though, and so it's maybe more of a ladies' type majlis where they can sit separate from the house, but also it's private, so it's not exposed to the street. Okay. So a ladies' majlis, like I said, would be a separate room in the house, a private space where they can relax with one another, take off their abayas, which is this like robe. Normally they wear black. The Qatari women normally wear black, but the abayas come in many different colors. They take off abayas and hijab, because if you are a Muslim Qatari citizen, you cover around, if you're a woman, you cover around men. And so when you're together with just the ladies, you can take that off and sit comfortably together. At my sister's house, the room they call the majlis is actually around the backside of the house and not exposed to the street, but it's still not where she meets with her friends. It's where her young adult sons and her husband hang out with their friends. And my sister does not call her many sitting rooms a majlis, despite the fact that that is where she meets with her friends privately for the purposes of conversation and shared meals, etc. That is because it is a part of the house, and by definition, a majlis is separated. So when my sister's friends come over, all of the men of the house leave and go elsewhere, perhaps to a friend's majlis, so it becomes a private space for them. So I might argue that her many sitting rooms, which she actually calls salas, seem to serve the same purpose as a men's majlis, but it's not up to me to give it that name. I just happened to notice the cultural patterns and behaviors that occurred in her sitting room areas that align with what I am learning about a majlis. There's comfortable seating, intimate conversations, entertainment, food and drink offered not just by the hostess, but also brought by guests, reflecting the value of generosity. Additionally, the more ritual elements are present too. Frankincense is lit in a burner similar to this. Shoes are removed upon entering. Formal greetings are made, which include what I mentioned earlier with the hugs and the kisses, as well as saying, Salam alaikum, peace be upon you, and replying to this, alaikum assalam, and on you, peace. Karak tea, which is so good, is served in a dala, a traditional cutlery container, and is offered upon a guest's arrival. Every house I went to served me karak tea. But what I've also noticed during my visit to this small Arab country is that many of these ritual elements are present in spaces that aren't just designated as a majlis. Qadari ritual, hospitality, and community building spreads outside of the majlis and into other shared spaces. Resilience is embodied through cultural practices that have become normalized and are present in everyday life and in times of hardship. I liken this phenomena to what Adrienne Marie Brown calls fractal change, which is a vital element of her emergent strategy. Brown writes, "A fractal is a never-ending pattern. Fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. They are created by repeating a simple process over and over in an ongoing feedback loop. How we are at the small fractal scale is how we are at the large scale." So imagine, in Qatar, the Majlis is like a nest, built in places all around the country, in private and public spaces. The practices in these spaces become embodied by its people as they gather together, first in small groups, then making small-scale resilience a larger-scale phenomenon. Rooted in old cultural traditions, resilience is embodied from the people up to the sheikh. And I will just mention briefly that the current sheikh has been praised for his servant leadership, meaning that he prioritizes his citizens' needs, interests, and concerns, not to make you jealous or anything, as well as the concerns of others within the larger community and country as a whole. There are lots of foreigners living there. It is said that he is creative and committed. In Unitarian Universalism, we advocate for creative and committed servant leadership as well. And so all of this combined brings the people together. It provides community cohesion and resilience. So how do we here become the embodiment of resilience? Cultural resources and skills associated with greater resilience can be cultivated and practiced when we are intentional about doing so. And so we can do this together. And I'm not saying that we should adapt Arab cultural practices. Indeed, our value of pluralism does not endorse cultural appropriation, but it does ask us to learn from one another because every culture has positive qualities and not so positive qualities. But noticing what another culture is doing to build community and become more resilient can help us to transform ourselves. So I am advocating for more shared sitting spaces where we come together, greet each other in caring ways, adopt rituals that express love and have meaning, talk with one another, share ideas, eat and drink together, find sanity and ground ourselves together, acknowledging that the world outside that is disconnected is not normal. I want to build safe nests together, places where we are safe and comfortable and can sing together, dance together, and be generous with one another. And I want to do that more often than just once a week. I want to learn how to invite strangers to co-create with us, to grow our community from one small fractal into the larger community, and to learn what it takes to become so resilient that we are a force that predatory powers cannot defeat. I want for us, in this time of authoritarianism that we are in, not to withdraw from the world by hiding, but to remember the world's sacredness and to create something beautiful and to invite others to enjoy it too. So let this church community be a place of refuge and creativity, like a nest. It is holy work in these times. Let us come home to it, not just on Sunday mornings, but throughout the week, to gather our resources together and find hope together. Let us not just make plans, but put them into action, practicing different ways of being together. Then, let us go into the world to build our flock, to help others to navigate these times too. And let this place be our spiritual home where resilience is gathered and embodied. Let us sing once more. Coming home.
I return to myself, here where I belong. I am coming home, like a bird to its nest, like a river to the ocean. I am coming home.
Thank you.
Closing words today, May Resilience Cascade by Reverend Dr. Rebecca Savage. We have blessed each other with word and song. We have embraced the greater truth of our resilience, one that is terrifying to systems that would keep us isolated, afraid, and angry. For when we come together, we remember who we are and whose we are. We are a living tradition of people who love fiercely, serve mightily, and journey humbly with the spirit of life. May we depart in peace. May we depart as beloveds, held together in spiritual community. Wherever we are, wherever we go, may resilience cascade within us until we are together again. Before we depart today, I would like to share with you a blessing that is used at every Sunday service at our UU home in Concord, New Hampshire. It is very special to my husband, Tom, and to me. Please repeat after me. It is a blessing to be.
It is a blessing to be.
It is a blessing to be here.
It is a blessing to be here.
It is a blessing to be here now.
It is a blessing to be here now.
It is a blessing to be here now together.
It is a blessing to be here now together.
Thank you very much.
Let's extinguish the chalice and then we'll have Isaiah do the closing song. How about that?
Please join me as we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world.
Days seem sometimes as if they'll never end. Sun digs its heels to taunt you, but after sunlit days, one thing stays the same. Rises the moon. Days fade into a watercolor blur. Memories swim and haunt you. But look into the lake, shimmering like smoke. Rises the moon. Oh, close your weary eyes. I promise you that soon the autumn comes to darken, fading summer skies. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Days pull you down just like a sinking ship. Floating's getting harder. But tread the water, child. Know that meanwhile rises the moon. Days pull you up just like a daffodil, uprooted from its garden. They'll tell you what you owe, but no, even so, rises the moon. You'll be visited by sleep. I promise you that soon the autumn comes to steal away each dream you keep. Breathe.